Ada was the smartest girl in SS2. Until the friends she wanted almost destroyed her future. When the new term began at Midtown High School, everything felt new uniforms, new books, new teachers, but especially new friendships. For Ada, who is 16 years old, it was a chance for a fresh start. Ada had always been a quiet, smart student. Top in maths and science, always neat, early and polite. But this term, she promised herself one thing. I don't want to be invisible anymore. During assembly, she watched the more popular girls, talking and laughing loudly, the girls whose hairstyles were always perfect, whose social media pages were always updated, whose presence made everyone turn. Ada admired them secretly. She wished she could be like them, confident, bold, admired. She didn't know that this desire would cost her more than she imagined. The group had 4 girls. Ebra, the leader. Pretty, sharp-tongued, loved attention. Busy, the fashion queen. Always with the latest hair and lip gloss. Aisha, loud, funny, loved gossip. Ayamide, the quiet one of the group but still influential. In school were called the 4 queens. They weren't bad girls, but they had a way of making other students feel inferior without even trying. They rarely spoke to girls outside their circle. But one day everything changed for Ada. It happened on a rainy Friday afternoon. Ada was sitting alone in the canteen during break, reading her biology notes as usual. Suddenly, she heard footsteps approaching. It was Ebra, the queen herself. Ebra smiled in a way that made Ada's heart freeze. Hello, you're Ada, right? The brilliant girl. Ada nodded, confused. Come and sit with us, Edra said, pointing to their table. Ada was surprised, she couldn't believe it. Her dream was finally happening. As she sat with them, the girls complimented her handwriting, her neatness, and her glasses. For the first time, she felt seen. She felt important. She felt like she finally belonged. She didn't know this was the beginning of her biggest mistake. At first, everything was fun. They laughed. They did TikTok dances together. They took pictures. They wanted to class as a together. But slowly, things began to change. The girls didn't like her serious attitude. Tisk, why do you always read during break? Relax more. Why are you always raising your hand in class? That's why teachers look at us weird. So you can just book. Ada wanted to still continue moving with them. So she adjusted. She closed her books during break. She stopped answering questions in class. She stopped sitting in the front seat. Every day she changed a small part of herself, until she didn't recognize herself anymore. But she was too deep in the friendship to turn back. Things got worse when a new boy arrived in SS2. His name was Fred. Tall, charming, brilliant, and surprisingly humble. Many girls admired him, including Ada. One day, after a chemistry class, Fred approached her. You're really good at chemistry. Can you help me understand ionic bonding? Ada blushed. But Ebra and her friends didn't like this. Later that day, they confronted her. So you're forming smart girl because of a boy? You want to collect someone's crush? Yourself, don't embarrass us. Ada tried to deny it, but it was too late. They started treating her differently, not exactly rude, but colder, more distant, more judgmental. To win back their approval, Ada made a decision. She stopped talking to Fred. She even avoided him in class. She didn't know this was the second step toward her downfall. By midterm, Ada's grades had dropped drastically. Her teachers were confused. Her parents were unhappy. But the girls reassured her. Relax, we'll all read before exams. Don't be too serious. Life is not that hard. Then came the biggest mistake. One afternoon, Ebra whispered, Ada, can you help us with the test tomorrow? Just small expo. Ada froze. Her whole life, she had never cheated. She hated cheating. But the fear of losing the girls was stronger. She agreed. The next morning, during the test, Ebra passed her a small paper with answers. Ada hesitated, but Ebra gave her a sharp look. So she helped. That single moment changed everything. A teacher saw them. The school opened a case. The whole class started gossiping. And the four queens abandoned her immediately. Oh. We didn't tell her anything, no. She acted on her own. We don't cheat. They turned their backs on her without blinking. Ada was left alone, humiliated, and betrayed. Ada's punishment was heavy. She got a warning letter. She lost her prefect nomination. Her parents were deeply disappointed. Teachers no longer praised her. Students whispered everywhere she passed. She felt like she was drowning. And the girls she tried so hard to impress acted like she never existed. One day after school, Fred approached her again. I know it wasn't you, he said softly. Ada looked at him with tears in her eyes. I just wanted to belong. Fred shook his head. Ada, people who make you lose yourself are not your friends. Those words broke her. She cried for hours when she got home. That night, she promised herself, I will never beg for friendship again. The remainder of the term was hard, but Ada started rebuilding her life gradually. She sat in the front seat again. She stopped following trends. She focused on her studies. She apologized to her teachers. She apologized to herself. Slowly, her grades came back up. Her confidence returned. Teachers started trusting her again. And the four queens. Their shine faded over time. Their group broke apart. They moved on to different cliques. And none of them ever said it's sorry. But Ada learned the greatest lesson of her life. On the last day of the term, she wrote in her diary. Sometimes the biggest mistake a girl can make in high school is trying to fit into a group that forces her to become someone else. The people you force yourself to impress today will most likely forget you tomorrow. But your future will remember every choice you make. She closed her diary with a calmer heart and a wiser mind. Moral lesson. Some girls make the mistake of losing themselves just to feel accepted. But real friends will never ask you to shrink, hide, lie, cheat, or pretend.